Hi, I am Melissa from Melissa's Busy Hands, and many people have asked me why I choose to charge certain amounts for certain of items that you may have seen on my Facebook page or my Etsy page. Many of the items are made with regular yarn, knitted or crocheted with regular yarn you might have found in a craft store of some or at a department store. But many of the items are also hand spun, and they are labeled on my Etsy page especially as being hand spun. Now what I have here today, I'm not just going out and buying hand spun yarn, I'm actually spinning the yarn myself. What I want to show you is this is called a drop spindle. A drop spindle is basically a spinning tool that is used by people who spin, who we lovingly call spinsters, and this is what we use to spin the wool. Now, I buy my wool. I do not go out and shear a sheep and clean the wool, which is a lot of work. So the wool that you buy is expensive, and this is wool. Let me show you what this particular wool looks like. I'll give you a really good look at it. It's dyed. It's got some purple and a little bit of pink and some green and some gray and some tans. It's a very lovely yarn. I'll hold up a larger piece of it so you can see, and it seems to go on for an eternity. We'll keep pulling. This particular yarn was bought from a place called Into the World, and it's not W-O-R-L-D, it's W-H-I-R-L-D, L-E-D, excuse me, like world, something that spins. And Into the World processes their own wool and then they sell it. Well, this particular skein or this particular bat came from Into the World. This particular colorway is called Great Minds. And I wanted to show you how this works. Of course, I've been standing here talking and spinning because it's something that I love to do. So what happens is you take this piece of wool and you attach it to you spin a little bit of it first, and then you wind it onto the shaft. That is the long stem that you see there. And this is called the whorl, which Into the World. And this particular drop spindle has a hook on it, and you latch the single thread to the hook, and then you spin it. So I'm going to pull a little bit out of the wool, as you saw. Let me make it get a little closer so you can see it better. Okay, and then I'm going to spin it. And as I spin it, this is called drafting, and I draft the wool from the piece of wool, and I spin the spindle, and it turns the yarn, the wool into yarn. Now this particular yarn, once it gets finished, once I fill up the spindle, it will not be finished. I will then have to take this single thread of yarn and ply it into a double ply. So I will either cut the yarn in half, or I will fold it in half, and then I will spin it together to where it makes two plies. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but I'll do the best I can with it. I would show you, except I don't have any that I can apply it for you. Then it has to be washed, or bathed as we call it in the spinning world, and then it has to dry, and then we have to make it a skein, and then completely up to us, we can take the skein and make it into a ball or a cake, and then from there you can knit or crochet or weave with it. So when I say hand spun, there is many hours put into that particular item. So if you see a hat that you might think is expensive, look at the title. If it says hand spun, trust me, it's very cheap. May look expensive, the price may look expensive, but it's very inexpensive considering the amount of time that has been put into it. So I talked to a friend recently, and my friend said, if I had known that makes that item a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to show you some of the items that I have sold or am selling that are hand spun so that you will know what has been put into that item. Thanks a lot, and I hope to see you again soon.